Gain on Proton, bro. I think it'll be a fun fight. I think Gain shoots on Proton, though. A lot of people think it's just gonna be kickboxing, but I think Gain might try and switch it up for him, like how Francis Ngannou did to Gain. Tripped him out, confused him a little, you know.
That's a great point. You know, we have weight classes for a reason. There's also a reason why no one's become a 3-weight division champion.
Yeah, it's
he
so
couldn't
hard.
make 185 by almost killing himself. Now he's going up to heavy, where it's not. I mean, naturally he walks around as a heavyweight, but he's not naturally a heavyweight fighter. So what will happen? He'll be heavier, which will slow you down a bit. He will have, I think, extra power. I still think he can take the shots. I think he's still got the power to knock out heavyweights. But Cyril Gane, in his DNA, is a gigantic, bona fide, legit heavyweight that just so happens to be very, very light on the feet, incredibly fast, can move around, you know, all over the place, shaking and baking, jigging and jiving, moving and grooving, whatever else you want to say, right? I think that's a...
Alex Pereira is about to attempt something absolutely insane. We're talking about a guy who's already conquered 2 divisions, now stepping into the heavyweight division to face Cyril Gane in what could be the most dangerous gamble of his entire career. And here's the kicker. He's already deep into his training camp, treating this like the life-or-death situation it actually is. This isn't some tune-up fight or easy money grab. This is Pereira walking into the land of giants, facing a natural heavyweight who's been knocking people unconscious at this weight class his entire UFC career. The MMA world is going absolutely wild trying to figure out if Pereira's knockout power can translate against guys who are naturally 40 pounds heavier and built like trucks. But what's got everyone's attention is how seriously Pereira is taking this challenge from day one, because he knows exactly what kind of monster he's about to face.
Yeah, that's the thing. He kicks so well too. He's not just a guy that's going to be some lumbering heavyweight. I think there's a lot of heavyweights on the roster that Pereira would hands down easily just go out there and KO to death, no problem. This one is a challenge, and I think that's what entices him, whether it was going to be Jones or whether it's going to be Cyril Gane. You're going for that third belt. If he gets it, you are a legit. And where do we go from here? If he wins that freaking belt at that White House event, does he go down as...
Michael Bisping dropped some brutal reality about this matchup that every fan needs to understand. Weight classes exist for a reason, and when you jump up like this, you're not just facing a bigger opponent, you're entering completely different territory where the laws of physics work against you. Think about Pereira's journey for a second. This guy was cutting serious weight to make middleweight, draining himself to hit 185 pounds, and now he's going up against true heavyweights who walk around at 250 plus. Bisping made it crystal clear that these heavyweight monsters are naturally bigger, fundamentally built on a different scale than anything Pereira has faced before. But here's where it gets wild. Bisping still believes Pereira has the power to knock out heavyweights because his technique is that devastating, his striking is that refined. However, and this is crucial, Gane isn't some lumbering giant who's slow and easy to hit. This dude has speed to go with his size, which makes him a completely different kind of nightmare to solve.
The infinite title shot glitch.
That is
He's
sick.
back again,
He's
fighting
back.
for the heavyweight title.
Bro, it is weird to be I mean, I feel like it. Yeah, I mean, Alex Pereira's opportunity to become a 3-time world champion, weight class world champion, whatever, against Ciryl Gane. It's almost perfect for the UFC, for Pereira's story. Like, to move, like, it's such a, it's a kickboxing fight with 4-ounce gloves on in the heavyweight division. Like, that's what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
I mean, Tom
Yeah,
Aspinall
basically,
versus Pereira, that's a sick fight too, but I don't know. So, hey, Ciryl Gane looked good in that fight against Tom. He was jabbing, he was sticking and moving, he was finger in the iron and moving, and he looked pretty good while the fight was happening. So,
and he's very good on the back foot as well, which is important against Pereira when he pressures you. And so this is going to be tricky. Like, I'd say Ciryl Gane has better footwork and movement and pop and move technique than like Jamal.
Paul Felder broke down exactly why this fight is so dangerous for Pereira, and it's not what most people think. According to Felder, who's analyzed countless elite striking battles, Pereira could probably knock out a significant portion of the heavyweight division with his technical precision and knockout power. But Gane represents maybe the toughest stylistic test he could possibly face at heavyweight. We're talking about a guy whose movement is elite for any division, let alone heavyweight. His footwork is technical, his kick game is diverse, and his overall striking presents a complex puzzle that goes way beyond just size and power. This isn't about Pereira facing some big, slow heavyweight who stands in front of him and trades shots. Gane's going to make him work for every opening, every clean shot, every moment of success. And that's exactly why this fight matters so much for Pereira's legacy. Because if he beats Gane and wins a title in a third weight class, we're talking about something that's never been done in UFC history.
The thing is with Ciryl Gane is he's never really knocked someone out in round 1 for a heavyweight. And I think for Pereira, you need someone who's going to, like, watch out. He could, like, that's where Tom Aspinall was interesting to fight Pereira, because he could shoot a takedown and get him down, or knock him out in the first round with a big...
Seriously, name one fighter who's accomplished what Pereira would accomplish if he pulls this off. The MMA guru pointed out something fascinating about Gane that makes this fight even more intriguing. This dude somehow always finds himself in massive title opportunities, becoming this running joke in the community where he gets another shot no matter what happens. But this matchup actually suits Pereira's skill set perfectly, because it's going to be a pure striking battle from start to finish. Gane's not a wrestler. Pereira certainly isn't looking to grapple, so we're getting a stand-up war. However, here's what makes Gane so dangerous even in a striking-only fight. His movement is unusually good for a heavyweight. We're talking about elite footwork and spatial awareness for someone his size. He doesn't stand directly in front of opponents and exchange like some rock'em sock'em robot. He uses angles, pivots away from danger, fights while backing up, making himself much harder to hit cleanly than your typical heavyweight target.
Ciryl's gonna be hard to knock out in the first round because he does stick and move. He is such an experienced kickboxer. He's not gonna sit there and trade with Pereira. He's gonna jab. He's gonna move, and he bounces around like you said, a light guy. And it's gonna be interesting.
Here's where the fight gets really interesting from a tactical standpoint. Gane is not the type of heavyweight who rushes in recklessly looking for a quick knockout in the opening seconds. That's just not his style at all. Most of his fights involve a slower, more methodical pace where he moves around the octagon, establishes his jab, builds his offense over time, layering in different strikes as he figures out his opponent's patterns and weaknesses. Because of that deliberate approach, the first round might not be the chaotic, explosive heavyweight brawl that fans expect. Against someone like Pereira, who's a legitimate fast knockout threat and could end things with one clean shot, you'd normally expect fireworks immediately. But with Gane's patient style, we might see a much more technical, measured opening round where both fighters are feeling each other out, studying range and timing before the real violence begins.
It's really intriguing. It's like potentially like this could be, and I think I know which way the UFC would like this to go. This could be a phenomenal superstar making crowning moment for Alex Pereira. If he goes and knocks out Cyril Gane like first or second round, it's like, holy smokes, this guy might be the GOAT. If Cyril Gane tip taps his way around for 25 minutes, or heaven forbid takes Alex down and it's the bigger man just lays on him for 25 minutes, it could be a fucking disaster, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if Cyril Gane's good enough on the ground to finish Alex Pereira, potentially. And he's still got that power. I mean, who knows? He could knock him out. I know Cyril Gane doesn't have like the craziest one-punch power in heavyweight terms, but he's going to be the naturally bigger guy.
There's going to be a lot of those flicky calf kicks.
Oh,
these two
yeah,
guys.
there's going to be a lot of that in this fight. And I do think it's a great style matchup for Pereira. Like, he is definitely, and I want to say this carefully and respectfully, but like the most skilled guy that Gane has probably fought. Like, obviously, we're talking about.
Sean O'Malley broke down exactly why this stylistic clash is so compelling. These two fighters exchange blows in completely different ways, like they're from different striking schools entirely. Pereira likes to pressure his opponents, cut off the octagon, and obviously has that devastating knockout power that can change any fight in a split second. Meanwhile, Gane likes to move constantly, staying light on his feet, technically sound in ways that most heavyweights just aren't capable of being. Here's how O'Malley sees it playing out. Pereira has to catch Gane and deliver a really clean shot to win the fight quickly and make a statement. That's his path to victory in the early rounds. But if Gane maintains his movement throughout the fight and keeps his opponent at the proper distance using his length and footwork effectively, this could evolve into a technical striking contest that goes into the later rounds. And here's the twist. In that scenario, Pereira might actually have to chase Gane around the octagon, which would be a completely different dynamic than what we usually see from the knockout artist.
So you know what the interesting thing here with Pereira and Gane is, because you think that Gane's going to be much bigger, being the heavyweight and all that. You look at Pereira here, he's 6'4" with a 79-inch reach. Cyril Gane will be taller. Actually, no, he's not taller. They're exact same height. Reach advantage does go to Gane, but not by much, 81 to 79. So I'm really curious to see how this looks. Of course, we saw the video on social media the other day with Alex Pereira weighing around 243 pounds. So I don't think it's going to be, much of a thing as far as, the size and strength difference in this fight. Obviously, Gane's got to be, stronger, you would think, because he's been more of a mainstay in the weight class. He's not cutting weight or anything like that. So Gane would have that advantage, but I'm curious to see if Pereira can do it. I don't remember the last time a, UFC champion has gone up 3 weight classes and had success. We know that Pereira's had a lot of success at 205, so that certainly fits the narrative that he can do amazing things here. And at heavyweight, we'll see. But what's interesting is he's fighting a guy in Gane who's also a very good striker. Now, obviously, power-wise, Pereira has that edge here, but Gane, I would argue, maybe the more technical guy. Although, I mean, you could argue that Pereira's pretty damn technical too.
Oscar Willis made a brilliant observation about how this fight fits into the overall card structure and why the placement is actually perfect. When Willis first heard about Pereira versus Gane, he assumed it was going to be the main event, which honestly didn't feel right to him as a headliner. But when he realized it was actually the co-main event, everything clicked in terms of card structure and flow. This functions as an extra big fight, giving fans another major reason to tune in beyond just the main event. The fight has genuine potential to make Pereira even more popular than he already is if he performs the way we've seen him perform before. Think about it, knocking out opponents in multiple different weight classes is incredibly rare in MMA history. If Pereira pulls this off, he becomes an even bigger star instantly. However, Willis also pointed out the real danger that the fight might not deliver what fans expect. If Gane dominates with his size advantage, superior movement, or even decides to use grappling skills we haven't seen much of lately, the fight could drag on with Pereira's advantages never really being felt, or making the impact everyone's anticipating.
Matchup, my pick in this one, it's tough, man, because, I'm usually the guy that does pick the mainstay in the weight class, although I didn't do that with JDM and Islam. I'm kind of leaning Pereira here only because I think Pereira has achieved a little bit more. The only concern, obviously, is that, he is, this is the 3rd weight class he's competing in. But I do think that Pereira, over 5 rounds can land a good shot and possibly hurt Gane. I believe Tuivasa might have hit Gane and put him in some. I don't think he dropped him, but he definitely connected on Gane. And I remember thinking like, okay, maybe someone can get on the inside. But it's hard to bet against Pereira at this point. So my early pick, if this fight again does end up coming to fruition, would be Pereira on this.
James Lynch broke down the physical matchup and revealed something that might surprise casual fans. The size difference might not be as dramatic as people assume when they hear light heavyweight moving to heavyweight. Here's the reality. Pereira is already a very big fighter even for light heavyweight. And Lynch mentioned that Pereira walks around close to heavyweight numbers between fights anyway. The height between these fighters is exactly the same, and the reach difference is almost negligible in practical terms.
I don't think he gets past Cirogan. I think that weight is real. Could he 100%, in particular in that division. But nobody has really finished Cirogan, and his movements is very problematic. Pereira also does get hit Kamaru. Now, can you take a heavyweight's punch? Now you're talking about Francis Ngannou power? A real big heavyweight?
You are right, Henry. Cirogan is no slouch. When he was fighting Tom Aspinall, we saw how that fight was starting to look. But listen, I think this is a fantastic fight. I'm not counting anyone out here. I'm not counting Alex Pereira out here, because Alex Pereira does have the power to really change things. We felt this way when Alex Pereira said he wanted to go to light heavyweight. Now he dominated that weight